Okay. Good afternoon to you all. I extend a special greeting to all the students that today complete their studies, to their lecturers, and to their families. Ceremonies like this represent an important moment for our university community. They're not simply casual and repetitive events, because every graduation day is, together, a time to take stock and a time to start over. The lecturers assess the work they have done, emphasizing the positive sides and try to improve the critical aspects of their teaching method. They should be satisfied as their commitment and enthusiasm have once again borne fruit. They have got to know new students and have left in them a trace of their actions. They're ready, therefore, to continue their mission with renewed momentum. The new graduates are at the end of an important phase of their life, and shortly they will embark on a journey that will inevitably bring them difficulties, hesitation, doubts, but also gratification and rewards. That is my heartily wish to you. At this moment, they may be considered the pros and the cons of their university experience, but above all, they are looking to the future, to a new chapter. Dear graduates, I hope you will always be true to this distinctive mission our university entrusts to every graduate, to care for others and to operate responsibly in society. This mission is particularly significant for graduates in medicine and surgery. Graduation Day is also an occasion to meet and listen to important figures of the international scientific community. Therefore, I wish to introduce Professor Roy Charles Ziegelstein of Johns Hopkins University and thank him for having accepted our invitation. Thank you, Professor, for being here. I'm sure his speech will be well received and be food for thought for our researcher and for our students. On occasions like this, thanks are due to all rectors and administrative staff who work hard so that year after year, Università Cattolica is able to offer the best education possible to its students. A last word again to the graduates. I congratulate you all, and I wish you success in achieving your professional goals. And I hope you keep alive the bond with Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore, your university, your alma mater, I hope, forever. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a real pleasure to see you in such a large, big number. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Giovanni Gambassi. I serve as the coordinator of the MD International Program here at Cattolica. My students know me well. And since they know me well, they also understand that this is really the first time they have written notes with me, because I felt not comfortable in going without them. So class of 2022, families, friends, magnifico rettore, esteemed colleagues, good evening. I'd like to salute you both with an institutional perspective, but also a more personal one, if you allow me to do so. Trust me, I really feel privileged to be standing before you in my vest as coordinator of the MD International Program here at Cattolica. This is indeed a very special time in the life of the graduates and in the story of the university. For you, class of 2022, this is an even greater time as we seem to be getting an handle on how to navigate through the pandemic after 2+ years of incredibly challenging times. And by the way, we even got a little rain last night after months of incredible dryness. On one hand, our university celebrates its societal mission of graduating the best young professionals who will take on to the challenge of becoming caring physicians, scientists, clinical educators, and future leaders in their respective fields. Again, this should not be taken for granted necessarily. And there is an inherent great deal of satisfaction when as an institution, you could witness a class like yours concluding so successfully such a challenging program. On the other hand, however, you could easily consider it one of the very best days of your life, certainly one that marks the biggest personal achievement in a relatively short lifetime. A day which gives a sense of completion that builds trust for the future while remaining well aware of the personal and familiar efforts and sacrifices that made it possible. In this very day, you don't only get a degree, still a prestigious one, but you are becoming a physician with the load of satisfaction and responsibility that go with it. From now on, you're not going to be students anymore. We'll be colleagues, believe it or not. But enough with rhetorical and rigidly institutional remarks. I want to spend the next few minutes talking to you, talking about you, about us as a community that has grown through time, building long-lasting relationships and strong bonds. I guess we all in this room have experienced that every story has a beginning and an end. But that what really counts is how valuable has been the time in between. Our story together begins 3 years ago as you were taking your first steps in the hospital. That strange feeling of being in the wrong place. The uncomfortable wearing of the white coat. The awkward device with earbuds that were not made by Apple. And the hard time familiarizing with new professors who often pretend they are constantly busy and know everything. And by the end of the day, the recurrent quest for inspiration about where to direct your future career. In the beginning, we indeed needed our time, as things seldom come easy. But as we started spending more time in class, as we were increasing our interaction in the clinical unit, I could feel it. We were giving a chance to become a community. A reciprocal trust grew rapidly, and yes, with the help of a little magic, the quality of teaching and learning improved end in end. And that is a high-hanging fruit for a clinical educators and a mentor. The end of our story is today, and we still have to live it to the completion. But what lies in between is, and will remain, our own personal legacy. And each one of us will carry her or his own individual sign, and will decide what to make of it for the future. You know it's in everybody's destiny. Life must be lived forwards, but it can only be understood backwards. Well, looking back and connecting my own dots, I can hardly recall such a rewarding time like the one I've lived in the interaction with you all. I did really enjoy the ride, and while I wish you all the best, I admit I will miss you. I don't have a crystal ball and cannot know what lies ahead. And really, I'm not even interested. You all have nurtured the strength and the abilities to face it, whatever the challenges will be. But before concluding, I want to tell you a story that emerges out of the experience of life and the reality checks with which life it is disseminated. A story that speaks of ups and downs, but a story that celebrates the resilience of us as human beings. In doing so, I intend to borrow the words of one of my inspirational books. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. It is open air, there on the wide open air. Out there, things can happen and frequently do to people as brainy and footsy as you. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who saw the high heights. You won't lag behind because you have the speed. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly are dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggle roads at a breathtaking pace. I fear toward a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting for a train to go or a bus to come, or a plane to go or the mail to come, or the rain to go. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you will escape all that waiting and staying. You will find the bright places where boom bangs are playing. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you are that kind of guy. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you will play against you. On and on you will like, and I know, you will like far and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You will get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life is a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will, indeed. 98.75% guarantee. Kid, you will move mountains. So, class of 2022, get out there and show what kind of young woman, man you are. Enjoy the ride all the way and have a good life. Thank you. Well, we can stop the show now. Well, when about 2 months ago, I thought about dropping an email to Professor Ziegelstein. I was really taking a chance. We've been knowing each other for over 35 years. I was in Baltimore. I always admired Roy, was a sort of role model. We were working in the cardiology divisions and doing basic research. He was always rushing between the hospital and laboratory with his beeper, and everybody was so respectful of this cardiologist coming to the lab and always dressing his tie and pretending he was a busy clinician, but at the same time interested in basic research and in excitation, contraction, coupling of the myocardium. But it was clear to me that I had a special connection to Roy. We would spend some time, not much time, together discussing about science. We would participate to the American Heart Association meeting, and very rarely, but it happened also to spend some time outside of the hospital in the lab, having dinner together. I remember one time in your Ford Broncos or something like that, going out for dinner at your house and with Bonnie, your wife. So I took the chance, and believe it or not, although we've been exchanging emails by time to time over this very long period, we have not been in close contact. And he said, look, it's a very short call, but I have a very, very busy, hectic agenda. But let me give it a second thought, because I really want to consider coming to Cattolica to do this. It took no more than 48 hours, and he said yes. So thank you, Roy Ziegelstein, for accepting and coming here. I don't have time. I don't think it's the right occasion to go through his extended curriculum, but I'm sure, I'm positive, you will capture the elements from his speech. So please, Roy, come up to the podium and give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I have to say, I love graduations. It's such, just look around for a minute, because, sometimes moments are important to preserve in your memory. This is one of them. What a spectacular event. I hope not to ruin it. I want to start by saying that Giovanni Gambassi said that we knew each other 35 years ago. This is true. I was 4 years old at the time. and he used to babysit me. I want you to know that as I prepared for today's event, I learned that while most of the graduating students here in front of us come from Italy, actually, by my count, 16 different countries are represented by this class. 12 different native languages, by my count, are represented by the student body. So when Dr. Gambassi invited me to speak 2 months ago, I have spent the last 2 months practicing this speech in 12 different languages. And then just a few minutes ago, Dr. Gambassi said, no, you must speak in English. It's the only language that I didn't practice it in. And I must tell you, I'm completely jet-lagged because I sat in the airplane with this robe on the whole time, and so I didn't get any sleep. So if this speech makes no sense to you, you understand why. So I want to start by, from the entire medical community of the world, congratulating our graduates and also their family and friends, and to everybody who has supported them through this journey. The graduates here have accomplished an amazing amount, and it would not have been possible without those people in the room, and I'm sure many others who could not be here today. So actually, I would like you to applaud the graduates and their families. The Chilean author, Isabel Allende, wrote a book about her daughter named Paula. Paula died of a relatively rare disease called porphyria, something that most people don't know, but our medical students had to learn about porphyria during medical school. Just to let you know briefly, the disease that her daughter Paula had, porphyria, accumulates toxic substances in the body because of problems with certain chemical steps involved in the production of a major protein in the blood. People with porphyria, like Paula, they often get life-threatening problems with their nervous system and other vital organs. I want to share a small section of Isabel Allende's book. It's an imaginary dialogue that she has with her daughter. Her daughter cannot have that dialogue because she's lying unresponsive in a coma at the time. Quote, "Every morning I walk the halls of the 6th floor, looking for the expert to ask for new details. This man has your life in his hands, and I do not trust him. He passes like an airstream, distracted and hurried, giving me blurred explanations about enzymes and copies of articles about your disease, which I try to read, but I don't understand. He seems more interested in linking the statistics of his computer and the formulas from his lab than in your crucified body lying in the bed. Some of you in the room may recognize this doctor. Perhaps you've seen him as a patient, or at least someone like him. Perhaps the medical students here, our graduates, were taught by him or someone like him. This is a doctor who is insensitive and lacks compassion, a doctor who lacks empathy and caring. It's a doctor our graduates here today, the class of 2022, do not want to become. It's a doctor they should not become, a doctor they will not become. I'm very honored to be giving this graduation address. I'm particularly honored because Professor Gambassi told me that it's not traditional for medical schools in Italy to have speeches at graduation. You see, in the United States, it's commonplace, it's very traditional to have speeches at graduation in front of the graduates' family, friends. It's also traditional that no one ever remembers who spoke at their graduation or what they said. Now, today, again, look around you. This is a momentous day. Today, we will establish a new tradition. I will speak, and you will remember what I say. Okay? A new tradition here in Italy. I will speak, and you will remember what I say. You will remember me because I'm going to give each of you a gift. Not a new Maserati. Although I think if I did that, you would definitely remember me. I'm going to give each of you a gift that I received when I was a medical student and that I treasured throughout my career. It's the appreciation of the importance of caring. I want every graduate here today to promise yourselves and your family and promise the world that you will not become the type of doctor that Isabel Allende wrote about in her book. I want you to promise yourselves and the world that as graduates of this prestigious medical school, you will care. It's important for you to care because every patient you see will need you to care. It's important for you to care because the world needs you to care. Every graduate here needs to care, but not just about one patient at a time, about three. The first patient. The first patient is, in fact, the one that comes to you for treatment. The second patient is you. You, yourselves, your family, your friends. The third patient is the public, society, the world. All three of these patients need you to care. First, let's talk about the first patient, the one in front of you who comes for treatment. You have an amazing opportunity as a doctor that virtually no other person and no other profession has. You get to know patients as people, as individuals, as unique human beings. Don't miss taking advantage of that very, very special opportunity with each patient. Patients need to feel that they have dignity and worth. They need to feel valued. In 2007, the US magazine called Consumer Reports surveyed over 39,000 Americans and asked them if they felt that their doctors knew them as individuals, as people. Nearly 60% said no. I've not seen a similar study in Italy, but I suspect it would not be any better. But you see, you have to know patients as people if you're going to give them great care, which is what you are going to do. People should not be treated the same just because they have the same diagnosis and belong to the same demographic group. That's primitive, that's old-fashioned, that's 100 years old. It makes no sense today. One day during your lifetime as physicians, the way you treat patients will be informed by genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and other omics. And it should also be informed by what I call personomics, the psychological, the social, cultural, behavioral, economic factors, and other life circumstances that make everyone unique. In order to understand these factors, you have to care. So please remember to care for that first patient, the one who comes to you for treatment. The second patient is you and your family and friends. When I was a residency program director, I started a tradition at our residency graduation ceremony. I asked every graduate to come up to the podium and tell everyone about the most memorable thing to happen to them during training. I thought that they would come up to the podium and talk about some lesson that they learned, or maybe a patient that they had taken care of. Instead, to my surprise, they all shared something very personal. The day they met their husband or their wife, the day they got married, the day their baby was born. At one of these graduation events, one of the faculty whispered to me, "We never would have shared such personal things when I was a resident. No one would have asked. We never spoke about our life outside the hospital. No one seemed interested. Things are different today, and they should be different today. We have to care for ourselves and care for our families and friends. We have to care for each other." Studies show that there are high levels of psychological distress, depression, burnout, and insomnia in medical students and physicians, both in the United States and in Italy. And things have only gotten worse during the pandemic. You must remember to care for yourself and your family, and I don't mean just exercise and eat right and rest and take vacation. Those are all important. I also mean exploring other interests. Read some novels. Go to museums and concerts. Watch a movie. Paint. Play the piano or the violin. Sing. Dance. Whatever brings you joy and fulfillment. These things make you happy. And I'm going to tell you a secret. They also make you more interesting. And you can only do these things if you care. So please remember to care for that second patient, you and your family. The third patient. The third patient is the public, the world, society. In early June of 2020, there was a protest march in Baltimore, where I'm from. Just days after George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, was murdered by a white police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mr. Floyd had been arrested on suspicion of using a counterfeit $20 bill, and the arresting officer pressed his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for over 9 minutes while Mr. Floyd begged for air. Mr. Floyd was lying face down on the street at that time and eventually became unresponsive and died. The murder was played out on the news over and over and over again in the ensuing days. I decided to join the protest march in Baltimore that day because I felt it was important for me to show my support and to be an ally with the many individuals in the United States with black and brown skin who have been subjected to the effects of structural racism. As I looked around at all the young people at the protest march, I felt an overwhelming sense of sadness that my generation had left such a cruel, harsh world for their generation, for your generation, and that we've been so unsuccessful in addressing hatred, bigotry, and racism. I felt horrible that my generation failed your generation and left the world so in need of caring, so in need of help. And it's not just hatred, bigotry, and racism. It's climate change, gun violence, the opioid crisis, terrorism, war, human rights violations. Your caring is needed to help the world. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr., the great American civil rights leader, was arrested and sent to jail in Birmingham, Alabama, for leading and participating in peaceful protests about the treatment of blacks in the United States. In a now famous letter he wrote from jail, he noted, quote, "He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it." Why do I mention this to you graduates today? Because as physicians, you will have a duty to the public, to society, to the world, to try to address issues that affect vulnerable members of our society. Issues that lead to worse health outcomes for certain groups and create health disparities. This duty has always existed, even for my generation. But today, as doctors, you can do more than my generation was able to do. When I graduated from medical school in 1986, the world faced a different pandemic, AIDS. Just before I started medical school, an acquired immunodeficiency syndrome was described in a group of young men, but no one had any idea what caused the disease or how it was spread. In fact, it was not until my third year of medical school, 3 years after the first description of AIDS, that the virus HIV was identified as the cause of this condition. And when I graduated from medical school, as you're graduating today, we could virtually do nothing to help people with AIDS. Now fast forward to December 12th, 2019, when a small number of individuals in Wuhan, China, developed a mysterious illness that also led to pneumonia, just like AIDS did 40 years earlier. But things did not take years this time, did they? Within just a few weeks, a novel coronavirus was identified as the causative agent of the outbreak. Just 4 days after that, the first novel coronavirus genome sequence was deposited in GenBank, the NIH database where all public genetic sequences are stored. By December 2020, as you all know, within just 1 year from the description of the disease, a vaccine was approved for use. Just think about it for a moment. Think about it. When I was a student, it took 3 years just to identify the cause of the AIDS pandemic. And while you were a student, it took just a few days to identify the cause of the pandemic, and less than a year to manufacture and approve a vaccine. Doctors, like you will be in just a few moments, have played a major role in the entire response to the coronavirus. Doctors identified the virus, they developed the vaccine, and they communicated frequently, regularly to the public. These roles in science and public health can only be done well if you care. The public will only trust you if they feel you care. So please remember to care for that third patient, the public, the world. I want to go back to Isabel Allende's description of the doctor who does not care. It actually is very interesting to me, and I hope it is interesting to everyone here in the room, that even though there are doctors like that in the world, society respects and trusts doctors more than almost anyone. In fact, 2 recent large surveys of people in more than 35 countries, including the US and Italy, indicate that being a physician is still the most trusted profession in the world. The fact that the public places their trust in you should give you even more reason to care. People respect you and what you do more than any other profession. They listen to you. They follow your advice. They tell you their innermost secrets. They share things with you that they wouldn't share with any other human being. With that in mind, how can you not care? But now, I'm going to tell you something that may worry you. It should worry everyone. Study after study shows that caring declines with every year in medical school. And this is true in every country in which this has been studied. In other words, let me put it clearly, you are more likely to not care now than when you began medical school. That should shock people. So today, as I told you, I'm giving each of you a gift. Not a Maserati. I'm giving you the appreciation of the importance of caring. Years from now, when someone asks you who your medical school graduation speaker was or what he said, probably you're not going to remember. Actually, if you're like medical students in the United States, you won't even remember tomorrow. But perhaps you'll remember my message. You must care. You must care. For the 3 patients I told you about, the person who seeks treatment from you, about you and your family and the world. So even if you forget me, please don't forget me. But even if you do, please remember my message and show your patients, yourself, your loved ones, and the world that you care. Congratulations to the class of 2022. May you have a long career and a long life of caring and success. Thank you.
I hope they will not, I'm sure they will not forget you, and I do hope that you will not forget us. So please.
Thank you.
Just a little speech. Thank you for your inspiring speech, Professor.
Thank you.
And now, class 2022. You always stand up, now you stay sitting, stand up, please. Okay.
Aspettiamo solo un minuto che togliamo le piante, così poi possono venire a salutarci, stringerci la mano. Just 30 seconds. Okay. I think it's enough. Okay.
Dear students of class 2022, considering the curriculum of your studies and having evaluated your graduation thesis, I proclaim you medical doctors. Congratulations.
Now I'm going to be calling, you can take a seat, each one of you. The first one is Ghazi Faisal Mohammed Almo. You can step up. Ghazi Faisal Mohammed, you have completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 102 over 110. Congratulations. You can do everybody. You can do everybody.
Ciao, complimenti.
Tanya Rajwa Tom. For yourself, again, after reviewing your career and after having evaluated your thesis, we can tell you that you have completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 98 over 110. Congratulations. Gayani Gunawardena. Let's make the story short. You've completed very successfully the MD International Program at Cattolica, and the final vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Letizia Wu. Letizia, you have completed as well the MD International Program rather successfully. The final vote for you is 110 over 110. Congratulations. Sinar Turgai. Sinar, after reviewing your career and having evaluated your thesis, you have completed the MD program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 102 over 110. Giulia Polidori. Really not much to say. You have completed, it looks like, the MD International Program, and the final vote speaks for 110 over 110 with honors. Giulia Dal Ponte. Julie, after reviewing your career and having evaluated your thesis, which we liked very much, I can tell you that you have as well completed the MD International Program, and the final vote for you is 110 over 110. Christina Kuzmik-Zabardi. Christina, you as well have been able to complete very successfully the MD International Program. You're at Cattolica, and your final vote is 102 over 110. Giancarlo Di Gioia. Giancarlo, you have completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 96 over 110. Congratulations. Alessio Benassai. Alessio, welcome. We have evaluated your thesis after reviewing your student's career, and yes, you have completed yourself as well the MD program, and your final vote is 102 over 110. Per Giulio Tonoli. Giulio, welcome to this podium, finally. Okay. You finally completed the MD program. Congratulations. Your final vote is 102 over 110. Carlo, Maria, Giuseppe, Ralph, Zara. All the time that I had to spend was spent on the listing of your names, so your final vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Delia Mercedes, not a Maserati, a Mercedes, Bianco. Delia, you completed very, very successfully the MD program here at Cattolica in Rome, and your final vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Celine Senaroglu. Celine, we reviewed very carefully your student career. We evaluated your thesis, and yes, you completed the MD program, and your final vote is 103 over 110. Giulia Benintende. What can I add here? 110 over 110 with honors. Anna Sofia Grandolfo. Anna Sofia, I'm sad to say that you have completed the MD International Program, and yes, the vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Georgia Yania. Georgia, really not much to say other than 110 over 110 with honors. Cesare Maria Civitelli. So good to see you here, Cesare. After reviewing your student's career and having carefully evaluated your thesis job, it's our pleasure to tell you that you have completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 96 over 110. Avku Gökhan Salkan. I don't know whether I pronounced any close to reality, but you completed the NDE program here at Cattolica and your final vote is 97 over 110. Leave it there. Merrick Utlulig. Merrick, you as well. You've been able to complete the program here, the international program at Cattolica, and your final vote is 97 over 110. Congratulations. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It was the wrong line. Merrick is 102 over 110. Alessandro Civinini. We spent some time reviewing your student's career. We actually gave your thesis a very close evaluation, and yes, you have completed your MDE program here, and your final vote is 110 over 110. Lisa Gassino. Lisa, welcome. Very good. You completed your MDE program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 110 over 110. Maria Sofia Pelosi. Let's cut it short. 110 over 110 with honors. Vittoria Ferrari. Not a Maserati, a Ferrari. 110 over 110 with honors and a mention of distinction. Haniet Nadia Mohammed Alwi Anwar. Again, at some point we will have to learn different languages other than Italian and English. But welcome, Anin. Yeah, you have completed the MDD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 99 over 110. Martina Asia Policriti. I told you when we met in Philadelphia, 110 over 110 with honors. Arianna Ciccolani. Arianna, you did an incredible job. I completed the MD program here at Cattolica. Your final vote is 110 over 110. Menrit Magdi Yakub Gurguis. Merit, welcome. You completed the ND International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 97 over 110. Davide Mulone. Can you make it? Are you okay? 110 over 110 with honors. Francesco De Vita. We liked your thesis very much. We're very impressed. So you completed very successfully the MD International Program here at Cattolica, and your final vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Stefano Manna. Stefano, you did a wonderful job during your student career. You have completed the MD International Program with the final vote of 110 over 110. Marta Sacco. We were undecided, but finally made it 110 over 110 with honors. Gerald Balla. Gerald, welcome. You've been able actually to get to the end very successfully. Congratulations. Your final vote is 99 over 110. Azel Bulubizi Otieno. Azel Bulubizi, you completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica with the final vote of 100 over 110. Now who were Mariam Shobiri. Mariam, you've completed successfully the MD International Program with the final vote of 107 over 110. I guess you're on the right seat, but the next one is Nimrod Glick. Nimrod, welcome. You completed very successful your MD International Program here, you know that. And your final vote is 107 over 110. Amir Ismat Dawood. One would have said against all odds 10 days ago, but you're here. Amir, you completed your MD program at Cattolica with the final vote of 99 over 110. Paola Pastena. We could not avoid it. 110 over 110 with honors. Aida Naz Uksek. Aida, we were very impressed by your MD completion here at Cattolica, and your final vote is 103 over 110. Naveed Hamad. Naveed, after reviewing your student's career and evaluated very closely your thesis, we can tell you that you have completed the MD program here at Cattolica, and your final vote is 97 over 110. Amro Abu Sulaiman. It's with a great deal of satisfaction that I announce that you have completed the MD International Program here at Cattolica, and your final vote is 110 over 110 with honors. Nicole Gelser. Nicole, can you believe it? We're here. You completed the MD International Program at Cattolica very, very successfully. Your final vote is 110 over 110. Okay, this brings to an end the proclamation ceremony, but we haven't finished this yet. Okay? Be ready with your cameras and your mobile. Okay? We actually trying to build a tradition, right? Okay? A little bit like in the US and North America. So I'm gonna be timing my students, and the third time they will toss the cup. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Bravissimi!
Should I broadcast?